Usa ka pagtuo, usa ka tingog, usa ka katawhan. CEBU Catholic Television Network.
Hello Cebu, maayong buntag. Nagsunta ang kahayag nga nagsugid sa matuod, kadagan sa panghitabo. Hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy. Sa mga katawhan. Hello Cebu, hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy.
Hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy. Adlaw karong Lunes, Agosto 28 tuwing 2023. Sa masananan, among ihatod kaninyo matag Lunes ang headlines sa mga pamantalaan lokal ug nasyonal ug mugutro sa kami pipila ka mga balita sa among mga pamantalaan. Mag-isgot-isgot kami sa mga butang nga may labtang lungsod. Among basahon ang inyong text messages kay parangat nga atong tulbanon. Ang weather report musunod karong taon-taon. Ako si Manny de los Santos Rabacal ug kauban ako ang atong partner matag buntag, Konsehal Malu Juano Inocando Tabar. Cons, may buntag.
May buntag sa viewers sa Hello Cebu, may buntag Pinoy. Adlaw karong Lunes. It's a holiday. It's National Heroes Day. Pero bisan og holiday, padayon ta sa ato ang panarbaho ug pagpanibya alang usab sa ato ang viewers. Sama sa nanda na ito ipadangat kaninyo atong front pages sa mga pamantalaang lokal ug nasyonal atong sugdan sa Sunstar Daily. Sa Sunstar Daily, outside Metro Manila, Cebu claims 48% of office space deals. Sa Super Balita sa Sunstar, duha patay sa aksidente. Sa The Freeman, COA flags MCWD anew on 353 million pesos profit loss. Sa Banat News, sa The Freeman, batan-on gipusil patay samtang naglakaw kauban sa babay. Sa Philippine Daily Inquirer, United States ready to support Philippines in supply missions. Ug sa Philippine Star, brace for Goring, LGUs told. Mao kadtong front pages sa mga pamantalaang lokal ug nasyonal sa among pagbalik. Duna tay special guest karon sir ug duna sa tay special nga co-anchor for today. Sa among pagbalik human sa pipila ka pahinumdom, please stand by.
Hello Cebu, hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy.
Ako si Gumersindo Alforque Rivera, ako asawa ni Tagas Fernando. Nadto una, sakit ang kalawasan. Ako manggibintin ang koy, nawa na tanan, nakaayos ang mong balatian. Barato na, epektibo pa.
Koy Herbal Capsule.
Discover the beauty of the Philippines. With Philippine Airlines, the country's flag carrier. The airline that lets you feel the warmth of the nation. Mabuhay!
Ako Ako si Mr. Rudy Romares, electrical subcontractor ng Maayong building. Ani adto nga wala pa ko mogamit og ko'y sakit akong tuhod, iglakaw na ko, akong mga lutaha, no. Labi na gikan ta sa overtime. Di sa ko ganahan mo kaon, nindot na ang resulta kay karon mo agi ta sa rampa diha, no, maglakaw ra jud ko. Mga batan-on nga mauwahin akong lakaw kay kusog na ko mulakaw tungod sa paggamit nako sa koy. So ay mo gamit sa koy kay nindot kay resulta. Daghang kay salamat sa koy herbal capsule. Barato na, epektibo pa.
Koy Herbal Capsule.
Sorry ma'am, na-late ko. Nangita pa mong gusto para internet sa kong anak, ma'am.
Ay, wala na yung problema. Mag-CEBU!
CEBU. For your internet connection.
And for the signal of your cable TV.
So fast and straight that transmission to your home.
CEBU!
CEBU.
Offers you to have fiber optics.
For your viewing experience, perfect and clear, so fast.
So great and affordable for you to enjoy.
CEBU Television Network Incorporated offers fiber to the home broadband internet bundled with fiber to the home cable TV connection. CEBU Television Network Incorporated with its operation in Metro Cebu and the whole province of Cebu soon.
And affordable for you to enjoy.
CEBU!
You're giving your all in His glory, touching each heart and soul by spreading His words and wonderful deeds that send forth His kingdom. It's love that you feel, that you care for all who have gone astray. You show them the way that leads to His full of love. It's love in action, true love, faith in action. We're one in one hope, inspiration through God's amazing grace. His power and love and pureness of heart show to us His wisdom. It's love that you feel, that you care for all who have gone astray. You show them the way that leads to His full of love. It's love in action, true love, faith in action.
Hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy. Maayong buntag Pinoy. Maayong buntag Pinoy.
Parayon sa Hello Cebu, maing buntag Pinoy o aligri kini nga to akong diskusyon mga higala o very informative. Just bear with us until 9 o'clock. Cons?
Yes. Balik ta sa Hello Cebu, Sir Manny, and I said earlier it's a holiday, it's a National Heroes Day. Unya murag ka ng kuan yun, murag maayong yung pagkahiluna kay atong kauban ron mga to me heroes sad ni sila no in lain-lain man tag mga superpowers pero sa
Unsung heroes.
Yes, so sa di pa ako sa ning unahon kining ato ang kuansad ato ang diripod sa CCTN Channel 47 ang ako ning hero kani adtos konsehos dakbayan sa Sugbo, konsehal Eric Espina. Sir, good morning. Siya sad amo paila-ila sa ato ang bisita ngayong kuyog karong buntaga.
Thank you very much, Cons. And then Maayong Buntag, Sir Manny. Haong kayo og tukma nga ang atong mahimong dinapit nga higala karong buntaga. Matawag natog hero, rebel, fighter, plus ang pinaka-importante sa ato kay adlaw magkaroon sa heroes, no? He's a Medal of Valor awardee. He's from the Philippine Marines. Atong ihatag sa mga nagtanaw walay lain kundi si Colonel Ariel Oliva Kirubin of the Philippine Marines.
Maayong Buntag, Sir Manny, Malu, and a good friend, Eric. Maayong Buntag, Pinoy.
Good morning, sir. I saw in this magazine, soldier, warrior, fighter, hunter, hunted, hero. Of these words, which one do you like the most?
Of course, hero.
Sige, Sir Manny, where do you want to start?
I really forgot these things already. I'm this old. But I would like to know where this all started. I mean, your passion on what you did started when?
Sir Manny, I was promoted to captain 4 years after graduation, way ahead of my class. 3 years ahead of my class, 2 months ahead of my 3-year senior from PMA, class 76, in 1983. But my next promotion was 14 long years later because of my idealism. So I participated in some, they say, military exercises. So finally, when I was promoted, because of all my accomplishments, they put me back to my ranking in the lineal list. So when they did that, because of all my accomplishments, I was the first brigade commander in the class. That would have been, well, they say I would have been the first general in the class. So I was a brigade commander in Marawi when I stood for the Kajas, for my officers and men who participated in the rigging of the elections then. But that was later, much later. Right after I rescued Hans Kunzli in Luoxulu in 1986, I was convinced by then General Rodolfo Biason to go back to PMA to put into writing all my exploits and make it into a doctrine, because the cadets at that time were using old US field manuals. And he said, they'll learn a lot from you. But unfortunately, August 28, today, 36 years ago, I was involved in that military exercise, the August 28, 1987. I was alleged to lead or convince the cadets to go down in support of Colonel Hunasan, then Colonel Hunasan. So that was my first involvement. Second time was in 1989. What they did was, of course, nobody wanted to take me in, not even Senator Biason, who later on became the commandant. He said, no, I don't want to accept him here because he's a virus. He's an informal leader. So I was assigned to Southern Palawan, where again I can spread my wings. No? So I said, if I honestly believe that God carefully planned my life, everything happened for God's purpose. No? So he put me in Southern Palawan. There was a notorious rebel commander, MNLF commander, Raquel Carrion, who torched a bus, killed 6 civilians, and then blew up the Palawan Electric Cooperative. For 2 months, they were looking after him and his band. Then came Captain Ariel Kerubin, who just been dismissed from, transferred from PMA. July 22, I arrived there, 1988. July 24, I was able to neutralize the dreaded MNLF commander. But then they didn't want me to be assigned in Puerto Princesa, because easily I can hijack a plane and be in Manila again to probably, at that time our target was Malacanang. So I asked for a leave. I told them, anyway, the MNLF there is headless. So a resident agent from the army went to see me, and he said, "Sir, there's an armed group in south of an adjacent town of Aborlan, of Puerto Princesa, in Saborlan." So I said, no, they are headless, don't worry. But he said, "Sir, they're talking kasama ka," so meaning they're NPAs. 10 days after that encounter, I again led a team of 10 people, 10 soldiers, neutralized that 11-man CPP NPA bandits. 10 days after that encounter. So meaning, I'm already vindicated with what I did in PMA. So they allowed me to go back to Puerto Princesa. Then came the first quarter of 1989. There was a message from higher headquarters that there's an opening for an intelligence officer's advanced course. It's a course that will prepare you to become defense attaches. So, being the most qualified, they said, "Oh, let's send Ariel." Little did they know that every time I reach Manila, there's something, I don't know, I was to defend my thesis, December. I went missing. When they found out, I was at the morgue of the Quirino Labor Hospital because I led the assault of Camp Aguinaldo. During those times, the issue was the government was perceived to be left-leaning. I'm a staunch anti-communist. Although I was a former activist, when martial law was declared, I was a member of the Samahan Demokratikong Kabataan. But then, I found out early on that my idealism was being manipulated or was being exploited by the extreme left. So I decided to take the entrance exam of PMA. Luckily passed. I was the youngest at 17 years and 3 days old, direct from high school.
General, you have been reported to have participated in the 3 EDSAs, 1, 2, and even the third. What really do you want?
I really want a progressive country. You know what? I always tell them that the antidote, really, to all these insurgencies and violent extremism is good governance, aided, of course, by a disciplined men in uniform, no military abuses, no police brutalities. But you might ask, so how come you became a rebel? Precisely, that was what I saw in the field, out in the field. We were killing each other, brothers. And then, if there are casualties, the relatives will come to you, "Sir," for example, I've been assigned to Central Mindanao. What you see there, if I attend conferences going to Cotabato, the big houses there, were what? Were owned by, of course, politicians. While the lowly soldiers or whatever, risking all their lives, sometimes you really have, what's happening, no? the government is not really delivering the basic services. There's social injustice, poverty. So that drove me again to, to become a rebel.
But now you belong already to the mainstream?
After what I've been through, I said, I was asked by then former President Era, because we were part of that all-out war then. I was the one who liberated Kauswagan in 2000. That's where I earned the Medal for Valor. Well, of course, I lost 7 men and 40 others wounded. So he asked me one time, because there was an incident in Basilan where 19 special forces were waylaid by the MILF. So everybody, they were saying, all out war. Justice Marbit Leonen was then with the peace process, said the armed forces really were not, they did not ask permission from the MILF. So I said, wow, why do we have to ask permission from them? So, but let's not declare an all-out war. Let's isolate, brand them as mere bandits and run after them, because we don't have to really stop negotiating with this with our brother in arms, the MILF, the MNLF. So the former president called me up. He said, Ariel, why a sudden change of? We were together in that all-out war. I told him, sir, war is so expensive. Halfway during that operations, we were told to stop. We declared a unilateral ceasefire. Why? Well, our propaganda was surrender or else we will bomb. Release all these artillery, the bombs and everything. But it wasn't the case. We ran out of ammunitions. So we have to send 2 ships to Thailand to borrow ammunition. So that's how expensive war is. So,
did you get what you want to?
Well, finally they listened to me.
So, okay, what can you say about the government now being run?
Well, I always say, for as long as we're still alive, there's hope. There's hope, and the president is an honorary member of our class. I used to be the president of the class, and I believe in him when he said, this is the only opportunity that is given to them to redeem their maligned name.
How about military men who are also enriching themselves?
Well, there are probably exceptions to the rule.
There always is.
Colonel Ariel Garubin, you got your Medal of Valor, but can you give us a little idea how you were able to get it? Because as many people understand, dagang mga wala kasabot nga kana Medal of Valor makuha na nimo, patay ka, and it is usually awarded to the widow. So in your case,
you needed to die before you get that medal.
Yes,
but maybe he's also half qualified because he was also half dead, right?
You know what? I was in a radio station when my former commandant was the host called him up and he said, "Sir, one of your officers is in the studio now, a Medal of Valor." And then that journalist, General Ruiz, Bill Ruiz, and said, "Who's that, Ariel?" That's that's the second Medal of Valor. They won in 1989. That was his first Medal of Valor. But anyway.
Briefly, sir, how can you tell us?
If you remember, the MILF in 2000 had control of the Narciso Ramos Highway. They have taken over, so many communities. So finally, before the IOC conference in Malaysia will happen, where they will be able to, they were aspiring to get a belligerency status. So what are the elements then? You have territory, you have an armed forces, and so many things. So they were pushing hard to have territories. So what the armed forces did was to nip that in the bud. So all the marine units, from Jolo, from Basilan, and Palawan were deployed in central Mindanao. So my battalion that was under the 1st Marine Brigade was attached to the 4th Infantry Division headed by General Simatu. So right after we arrived in Cagayan de Oro, while the operations officer was briefing us on the situation in that area, Lanao del Sur and Lanao del Norte, his phone was keep on ringing. And then finally, he informed General Simatu that, sir, all our detachments were overrun, except I think for around 2 manned by MNLF integris. So General Simatu and General Chodosio were talking, and then he asked permission from higher headquarters to divert, instead of bringing us to Malabang, to Lanao del Sur, divert us to Lanao del Norte, where all the detachments were already overrun.
Sir, what do you mean by overrun for our public just to
Well,
understand?
the MILF took them over.
Wow.
Yeah, took them over.
How many were you?
At the time, well, I'm now 67, probably, well, 34. At that time.
Was this the time where you ended up clinically dead?
No, that was in 1989. I was on the rebel side.
Okay.
Yeah. So immediately, they were talking, and then, who are we going to dispatch first? The senior officers were looking at me. So what else? No? So I said, sir, I volunteer.
You volunteered?
Yes. So
wow, why? I mean, why would you do that, right?
I was asked when I was suspended, or I was dismissed in PMA for trafficking 12 liters of Ginebra San Miguel on my birthday. I was the incoming battalion commander of the plebe detail, and normally those who are being designated as battalion commander ends up as the baron of the class.
Yes.
But I don't want to be presumptuous to say I would have been a regimental commander, but that's how adventurous I was at that time. I 12 liters of Ginebra San Miguel on my birthday. The commandant said, Colonel Tapia, Ariel, if we will suspend you for 1 year, for each battle, are you willing to come back? No more, sir. So I worked with the Metro Hall for a while, and then finally, they recalled me. So I told them, good, otherwise you will not have a Medal of Valor awardee. So going back to
Lanao.
To you volunteering.
Yeah, volunteer. When we reach Balui Airport, that's the first objective, because the MILF took that over, or controlled it. So General Bagasin said, Ariel, we are now encircled, the Tokalan. Little did we know that was silent.
You were surrounded, sir, in short.
Well, they were.
Okay.
We were the ones reinforcing them.
Okay.
That was a diversionary maneuver, because they were really out to control the illegal to Pagadian road. So they took over Kauswagan. So my unit again was, maneuvered to liberate Kauswagan. So probably the MILF then was thinking of another standoff They were even waving their flag and everything. So what we did, right after we arrived, I trained these, the 105 to them.
105, sir.
Artillery. It's
Artillery.
artillery.
Kanyon ni siya, kanyon.
Kanyon, yeah.
Kanyon,
And the V300s then, the six-wheeled armored vehicle just arrived. So we released that one. We saw them,
exploding.
They run run for your lives. I immediately went to the place where there are so many hostages at the gym, 700 of them. When we were able to rescue them, transfer them to the church. Past midnight, General Simato arrived, and then the following day, without even we just came from the ship. We haven't taken a bath. And then came all the top brass. Secretary Mercado, all the and then they were saying, let's keep the momentum. So they were again looking at me, why me? So I normally launch all my operations at dawn, where the enemy is really always caught by surprise. But this time, I was told to move right after lunch. So I said, we don't have any advantage of our air superiority, because during those times we don't have night flying capabilities for the aircraft. So just the same, I was ordered upon reaching, moving towards this MILF camp, past 6 p.m. A big tree was felled, and then firefight broke out. At that time, there was an embedded journalist in one of the vehicles. It was Santa Ana. I mean,
Jude Santa Ana.
What's his first name? The husband of Karen Davila. He was with GMA 7.
Yes.
So I told him, I can no longer secure you. Can you please, you'll be, I requested for a backup armored vehicle. They'll bring you down. And he said, sir, that's why we volunteered, because we want action. The firefight progressed, and then my company commander, the late Don Javier, who was at my back, I mean, his unit was at my back, was hit by a sniper. So I realized we were encircled. And then my position was compromised, because my radio man, the one beside my security, my radio man, they were hit by snipers. So they died beside me. And by sunrise, we haven't really moved, even for 50 meters, no?
Colonel Ariel, can you please mention the names of these two individuals who fell beside you?
Yeah, Sergeant Raul Moscoso, and the other one, I think, a certain Hardy. I'm no longer, sometimes your memory.
Senior citizen.
But these two NCOs really were with me in that 1989 military exercise. So that's why every time I recall this, I really, I'm just holding my tears.
Yeah.
Every time I remember this, you really, it's short. So, these people lost their careers, they were demoted, and yet when they were given amnesty like me, they were with me again. So I was telling myself, probably I wasn't a lousy leader. For them to take those bullets, that was intended for me. And you know what? Every time we talk about this, most of their wives ended up as prostitutes. You know, their children at that time, only one can be a scholar. So we lobbied for that. I said, oh, let's help them because who will tend for the kids? No, wala na. Hindi na. Now they're all scholars, all the children of soldiers who were killed in action. So let me continue with what was ano. So then came my reinforcement, a Marine battalion, headed by Major Ben Asidao. You know, when I left Cagayan de Oro, we were like universal soldiers. We have these voice-activated radios.
Voice-activated radios?
Yes. It's really, you know, we have Kevlar helmets, and my unit was adjudged as the Battalion of the Year at that time. So we were fully refurbished and everything. So, but you know, during that firefight, no, running gun battle, all my radios were dead. I mean, no more.
So how do you do that when you communication is crucial in operations like that, right?
Yeah, I think it's you know, God works in so many mysterious ways. Came my reinforcement. He brought along cell phones. Why cell phones? You know, the cell sites then were situated in the camps of the MILF. So we had cell phones. All the numbers of the commanders were there, even the pilots, and while we were talking, it was briefing us on what's the instructions from higher headquarters. A mortar exploded in front of us. So I told him, Ben, you maneuver to the right. I'll take care of this. He maneuvered so fast. He withdrew so fast with casualties. So I said, if we will just hold on, or we'll not move, we'll all die. And then, you know, the Air Force planes were hovering, but then they cannot drop bombs because there were rain clouds. No? There were rain clouds. So the lead pilot said, "Sir, can we ask permission to jettison all our bombs? We will come back. We will just refuel." They have to release all their bombs because they cannot land if they have bombs. So they have to jettison, drop it in the sea. So I said, if you do that, you will come back here, we're all gone. So I said, please don't leave. And I prayed. I implored God's help that way. I was never a religious man before. So I asked, Lord, please, we can no longer withdraw. Just, you know, allow this place to drop their bombs. There was a clearing. The pilot said, "Sir, we saw some buildings. Where are you located here?" So I said, I gave my position, and then when they tried, when that MG520 tried to do a passing, he was sprayed by 50 caliber machine guns. No? So that was really the camp of the MILF. Then the OB-10, released bombs, and, you know, the soil really was covering us because we were very close to the camp. And then when they left, the enemies were shouting Allahu Akbar. So we knew that we were we were, on the upper hand. So I said, I rallied my men. That was 3 p.m. I rallied my men. I stood up. I was kicking some of them because we were all in shock. Yeah, you can just imagine. We were used to fighting the CPP-NPA in southern Palawan, and then here we are now fighting a semi-conventional unit with the firepower same as us, with sniper rifles, sniper scopes. They were well equipped. So I stood up, I rallied my men. All my armors were crippled. The NCOIC said, "Sir, can we just withdraw because all our guns are crippled." So I said, "Don't ever do that. No, I will kill you if you do that."
Sir, why was your armor complement all disabled and your guns disabled?
Yeah, they were hit by B-40 rockets.
By the MI-11?
By the MI-11. So finally, when I took over Camp John Mac, after a 24-hour running gun battle, my brigade commander called me up and he said, "Ariel, we have heard a lot of stories back from the casualties, no? And General Simat and I, we talked, and the other senior officers said, we have to recommend you for the highest award." So I this feeling of mixed feeling. You're happy, of course, because that's the highest award. But how can you be so happy when you lost several men? I lost a Lieutenant Don Javier, classmate of Senator Trillas, class 95, a very young officer. I lost people really that was they were so close to me. So hard. You earn that highest award losing people. But of course, that's it. I mean, in war, you lose people. And I was always telling them, leadership really is not just taking charge. It is taking good care of your charge. So probably they say at that time I was mission oriented, but lives really have to be sacrificed for our love of our country. Well, so sorry.
Okay.
Someone so tough
Yeah.
with rebels, and then yeah. Sige, let's give him some time to compose himself. Let's go for a short break, and when we return, let's have more discussions.
Okay.
Okay, after this break.
Hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy.
Ako si Gumersindo Alforque Rivera, ako asawa ni Tagas Fernando. Nadto una, sakit ang kalawasan. Ako manggibintin ang koy, nawa na tanan, nakaayos ang mong balatian. Barato na, epektibo pa.
Koy Herbal Capsule.
Discover the beauty of the Philippines. With Philippine Airlines, the country's flag carrier. The airline that lets you feel the warmth of the nation. mabuhay.
Ako si Mr. Rudy Romares, electrical subcontractor ng Maayong building. Ani adto nga wala pa ko mogamit og ko'y sakit akong tuhod, iglakaw na ko, akong mga lutaha, no. Labi na gikan ta sa overtime. Di sa ko ganahan mo kaon, nindot na ang resulta kay karon mo agi ta sa rampa diha, no. Maglakaw ra jud ko. Mga batan-on nga mauwahi na kong lakaw kay kusog na ko mulakaw tungod sa paggamit nako sa koy. So ay mo gamit sa koy kay nindot kay resulta. Daghang kay salamat sa koy herbal capsule. Barato na, epektibo pa.
Koy Herbal Capsule.
For your internet connection
And for the signal of your cable TV.
so fast and straight the transmission to your home.
CEBU
Offers you to have fiber optics.
for your viewing experience, perfect and clear so fast.
So great and affordable for you to enjoy.
CEBU Television Network Incorporated offers fiber to the home broadband internet bundled with fiber to the home cable TV connection. CEBU Television Network Incorporated with its operation in Metro Cebu and the whole province of Cebu soon.
For your internet connection.
And for the signal of your cable TV.
So fast and straight the transmission to your home.
CEBU
Offers you to have fiber optics.
for your viewing experience, perfect and clear so fast.
So great and affordable for you to enjoy.
Hello Cebu, hello Cebu, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy, maayong buntag Pinoy.
Maraming salamat sa Maayong Buntag Pinoy. Nilid kaya na itong discussion cons.
Hindi man kuyawan ta maapil tag kahilak ani niya. Oy kay you know, I grew up always thinking that military men are tough guys who are, you know, 'di ba? But then for you to see him like this, it also made me wonder. You fought so many battles, you witnessed so many deaths, including those of the people you work with, your teammates. But then again, aside from all of that, you're also a husband, you're also a father. How do you balance or how do you manage all of that?
Well, you know, my wife said, "Dad, did you ever think of us during those battles?" And I tell her, you know, if you're there, your family is only second. Your primary concern is your men. Why? Because I know if something happens to me, you can tell my children, you can, you know. But how about them? So I was an absentee father. God had to take away my freedom for me to realize that career is not everything in life. So he had to take away my freedom for me to realize that I have 7 children to take care of. So I was jailed for 4.5 years. And in those years that I was sidelined, I came to realize the real meaning of unconditional love. When some of my friends deserted me, my family stood by me. I really don't hear Mass then, but because I was influenced by my family, we always hear Mass every Sunday. So when I was finally released after 4.5 years, we underwent this family retreat, and then we were made to write happiest moments, darkest moments. When my children were asked, darkest moments, when our dad was out there in the field, because we don't know when he will come back alive. And
Yeah, can
or
you
dead
imagine
in casket.
your kids,
Yeah.
your wife? You know, they say when you're married to a person in uniform, the moment they deploy to serve, you don't know anymore if that's the last time you see them alive, right?
Yeah, that's true. So, happiest moments, they said, when our dad was in jail. Because anytime we want to see him, he was there.
That's the only time.
Yeah.
You have to be jailed for them to see you anytime they want to.
I didn't want to read mine. I was so ashamed. So, bro, please read what you wrote.
Oh,
and I
no.
said, happiest moments. When I was out there in the field, hugging the limelight, always in the news.
Oh.
It was so selfish. So I came to realize I was so selfish because it was all for my personal aggrandizement. Darkest moments when I was in jail and my freedom was curtailed. So you look, we have
Different perspectives, yes.
But still, I think it was the plan of the Lord.
So after all is being said and done, you still believe you're right?
Yes, of course. Yes, I don't regret anything that I did.
Your life is very colorful, right? You were tagged a rebel. You were tagged in many of the coup attempts. You were also tagged a hero. If all of these you had to go through again, would you change anything?
I believe, given the opportunity and the situation will still be that, the situation then I'll do it again. But you know what? I really felt vindicated when I asked a former president to give a foreword to my memoir. In 2017, former President Ramos sent a foreword to my memoir. And I wasn't really expecting.
Sir, yung memoir meaning autobiography?
Autobiography,
Oh, para
yes.
lang maintindihan lang.
Autobiography. So, he sent a message, and I was really surprised because he had kind words. He was an adversary in 1987. He was the chief of staff. When I assaulted Camp Aguinaldo, he was the Secretary of National Defense. But when he sent that forward, it said, and I quote, not only was he an excellent warrior in the jungles fighting terrorism and insurgency, he too represents a class of thinking Filipino soldiers, imbued with a sense of idealism to take urgent measures, if necessary, to assert their belief of how and what this country should be. So really, again, I think it's God's son.
Are you being tapped by the government now?
Oh, I don't want to be presumptuous to say I am, but they think I am in my comfort zone. But sometimes, love for country cannot be, say, equated to what you are receiving financially. Or it cannot be bought. No? Your love for country, you might be earning so much. You should always be ready to leave your comfort zone for a higher calling.
You're a colonel now. Do you believe that's the rightful rank for you?
If I'm asked, why don't you use the Brigadier General? Because I'm receiving the pension of a Brigadier General. And I always tell them, when I left the service, wala po akong pabaon.
Yeah.
Yeah, unlike the others.
Oo, tama, totoo. Speaking of pension, you're always curious about pension funds.
You are enjoying the pension that the other military unit personnel are receiving.
Yes, I also received a 75,000 lifetime tax-free allowance from a Medal of Valor.
Only 75?
Well, we were waiting for another increase because the allowance really is dependent on inflation, dependent on the consumer price index. So
Because
every 5 years, they increase that.
Because I have a friend, a retired brigadier general, who is receiving 200 plus.
Well, he must be a former chief of staff.
No?
Yeah, former chief of staff.
Anyway, so 75,000 for a colonel. But of course, you are still qualified to be promoted to a higher rank.
If I join the reserve force, probably they might promote me to general.
Oh, but
It's okay. You already promoted him. You called him general when
yeah,
you
I thought
first
he
talked to
is.
him. Oh,
I really
diba?
thought
Pang
you were.
general. Yeah.
Because you're even more decorated than
the other.
compared to the other.
Yeah. Most,
to the other
most
generals.
awarded.
Sir, what other award did you not receive? Aside from all the other awards.
I was telling them, I would have added in that article when it was published in 2017, I said all except the Wounded Personnel Medal, which I would have gotten if I was on the government side. So in the array of the awards in my ribbon, you can see that one is missing. And sometimes I jokingly said, no, I don't want to receive that really, because they said that's the award of Katangahan Award.
But I saw an article that called you the most decorated military man.
Yes. I actually, when that article came out, I thought it was going viral, and my daughter woke me up, Dad, you have an article going viral. And I said, don't believe that. I'm used to negative publicity.
That's not negative.
So when he showed me the article, I went straight to the AFP Civil Relations Service, the one that published it. And General Kakilala, who was then the head, said, Sir, yeah, what brought you here? Let's have coffee. And then I said, no, I'm in a hurry. I'm going to office. Is this article really yours? And then General Ed Arevalo, who was then a colonel, just came from his radio program. And he was the one who explained, Sir, it's like this. We did a workshop on that. It's like medal tally in the Olympics and ASEAN, SEA Games. The gold cross, the gold medal, of course, automatically Medal of Valor. Silver is the Distinguished Conduct Star. That is the second highest award, combat award. Third, it will be the Gold Cross, silver, bronze rather, for the Gold Cross medal. So, all the Medal of Valor awardees, and then they asked, who has the Distinguished Conduct Star? They said, Kerubin. Because they wanted really to do a deep selection so that nobody will complain because I was a rebel. So they said, let's go deep select. Who has Gold Cross medals? Of course, my classmate, Lieutenant General Arthur Ortiz, has 3. General Subiana has 1. Then Colonel Kerubin has 7 Gold Cross medals.
What's your status in the military now? Are you retired or what?
Nag-late retirement ka, no? Late na
Yes.
na-grant yung ano niya.
After all this, finally they were putting things into order. So in 2021, finally PMA invited me to give me military honors. After that, I was guest of honor in all activities, and then December 23, I was given my retirement honors. Very late, but just to say, I'm happy that finally
Vindicated.
vindicated.
Diba?
Yeah, but so many retired personnel or generals even were hired by this government to different positions.
I think based on his answer earlier, although he did not want to be presumptuous, I'd like to think there are offers. He cannot reveal yet.
Who president would not?
I think. Especially, you know that the president is his mista?
Yes.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yes.
So, to me, I think I will wait to see him soon. We have no time now, but I really am curious about what happened when you were presumed dead. Can you just share that story before we say goodbye?
Oh yes. Well, I assaulted Campagnanado, and then in the process, I was hit by a rocket from the Sikorsky helicopter.
So casual, no? In this course, I was hit by a rocket. Like you get hit by a rocket every day.
And the two NCOs who were beside me were dead on the spot. So I was brought to the Quirino Labor Hospital because during mass evacuation, they tend to those who have better chances of survival. In my case, all my vital signs were zero.
Zero?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was with the dead bodies, they saw my bull ring, my PMA graduation ring. So a surgeon, a military surgeon, went to, curiosity really. So while he was looking at my ring, my little finger twitched. So I had palpatory. They said, pwede pa ito. So I was transferred to Viluna, but along the way, I had 3 times cardiac arrest. So finally, when I arrived in Viluna, I was again set aside there and then...
Dead again. Ano ba yan?
Dead again. But my friends who were with me, I mean, the medical personnel who were, they have this stint in the field. So when they saw me, oh, Sir Ariel, according to them, they were, some of them were crying. So they started to put IV, and then a senior doctor said, you look at all his wounds. I had 67 shrapnel wounds.
67? In that one incident?
Yes. So what they did was to suture everything, and then when my blood pressure reached 70, let's experiment. So they experimented to me.
Experiment, prenaktisan pa.
They repaired my pancreas that was ruptured, cut a portion of my left lobe, of my liver, and 6 feet of my small intestines.
6 feet of your... Those are really highly critical areas, right? Pancreas,
yes,
your intestines.
And now I said, God is so good because He gave me a new lease on life. Yeah. And
what is your mission now?
Well,
with the second chance.
Well, I said there's so much energy left. I think I have to do more productive things in my remaining life.
You are still able to do push-ups?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
How many?
270.
Wow. Cannot even manage 10. 200?
270.
270?
How old are you?
I'm 67. But my body age, according to what the doctors say, it's only 60 years old.
Wow, amazing.
Wow. Sorry.
Unfortunately, we don't have time now. We're on only until 9 a.m. So lastly, can we just request, sir, that you give a message to our viewers now, today, especially on this holiday?
Well, I always say that, there's hope for all of us. For as long as, we have faith in our Lord, we volunteer ourselves to help this government to have, good governance, they say, because it's really good governance that will bring us way ahead. No, that is the best antidote to insurgency and violent extremism. if we keep on fighting each other, how can we progress? No? You know, I've been in these areas, Basilan, Tawi-Tawi, Holo. The beaches are so nice, but no tourists really dare to go there because of the peace and order problem. So if you have peace, we have, you know, we're not fighting each other, then we can progress. Collectively, we will rise up.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today. Of all days, no? Today. Thank you. And thank you so much, Sir Eric, for bringing him to us and sharing him to us and sharing the program today.
Ako yung magpasalamat ninyo kay I had a chance to sit beside Sir
Manny
Rabakal Gunigod and then Konsehal Malum. Sus, asa
kaya
pagod
na
ka.
flower kanigid siya.
Salamat.
Thank you, Sir Eric. Onya, ato sang ipadangat ang giandam ni Tatay Dodong ani ang pulong ug kinabuhi.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ang pulong mo, ang diwag sa kanan ko.
Dagan ka na to ang nagduda, kung duda ba gawin Ginoo o wala. Apan ang Biblia nangingon nga ang atong dawaton pinagi sa pagtuo ang kamaturan nga adunay Ginoo. Sa Hebreo 11:6 nangingon, walay makapahimot sa Dios kung walay pagtuo. Kay ang muduol sa Dios kinahanglan gyud nga mutuo nga adunay Dios ug gantihan niya ang nangita kaniya. Kung tinguhaon gyud sa atong Ginoo, mahimo man siya nga magpakita sa tibok kalibutan aron ang mutuo. Apan kung buhaton niya kini, wa na kita magkinanglan sa atong pagtuo. Kung faith, mas pinungdanon sa Ginoo ang atong pagtuo. Kaysa Juan 20:29 nangingon, unya mingon si Jesus kaniya, mituo ka ba? Tungod kay nakakita ka kanako? Bulahan ka itong mutuo, bisan wala makakita kanako. Maigsoon mo kanyang pulong nga maghataw giya sa itong kinabuhi. Magampo kita. Lang ito nga man, kami mituo sa imong gahom. Kami mituo nga ikaw magbubuhat sa tibok kalibutan. Busa, kami karon nag-ampo nga imo kaming dasigon sa mga panahon nga dunay mga pagduda nga moabot sa mong kasing-kasing. Tudloy kami sa pagsalig kanimo sa higpit. Amen. Sa ngalan sa Ama, sa Anak, sa Espiritu Santo.
Ang pulong mo, ang diwag sa kanan ko.
Pulong kinabuhi ni Tatay Dodong Limchua mo'y nagtapos sa atong tulumanon. Dagang salamat sa COEG sa Philippine Airlines. Thank you very much, Archbishop Jose Palma. Nanaydayan ng Tatay Dodong Limchua. Thank you, Sir Dennis Tabar. Salamat. At mga kaubanan sa TOC, Sir Robert, Miss Inday, Sir Anton, Sir Lorenzo, Miss Joanne sa newsroom, Sir Michael, Sir Del, Sir Raymond, Sir Bruce, ug diri sa studio, si Ferdy. Ako si Maluy Nocando Tabar.
Ako sa Manny de los Santos Rabakal. Hello, Cebu. Maayong Buntag Pinoy. God bless. Bye.
Hello, Cebu, maayong buntag. Nagsunta ang kahayag nga nagsulti sa matuod, nadagan sa anghit.
Usa ka pagtuo